Hello, Lucky Thief, and thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really do appreciate it. First things first, really easy starting point. How's your day going so far?
Yeah, pretty good so far. What have I done? I mean, I don't want to bore you with just other stuff outside the music, but everything's going all right so far. Yeah.
Real life stuff, as you say, the boring stuff.
I mean, I find it interesting. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, of course. Good. Then considering we're in March, we are 3 months into 2023. How's the year been treating you overall so far, from the Lucky Thief perspective?
Yeah, it's been great so far. Obviously I did this album, well, it took 3 years to do, and it's been about a year and waiting to release it. So it's actually been pretty great just organizing all the promo, picking the singles, finding people to work with, and getting ready to release it. It's been very long, so it's actually great at the minute, and I can't wait for this first single to come out, to be honest.
That is a long time. Have you been enjoying this aspect? It's part and parcel of modern music making, really, isn't it? The long build and sometimes forced, sometimes part and parcel of it, where you just have to drip feed content. Have you been enjoying it, or are you at the stage now where you're a little sick and tired of it and you just want to kind of get it all out?
Um, I think it's difficult because obviously, like I play all the instruments and layer it. So whereas if you had a band,
Mm.
you've got three, four, five members who can do different content and stuff, and kind of share the load. Also, I did all my studio time like at least over a year ago. So it's hard to promote stuff when you're not playing live, because I'm currently teaching the live band to play the album. So
Mm.
again, that's why I'm just thankful that the singles about to come out, because I can actually start showing stuff, because it's been a long time of not being able to too much, to be honest.
No, what you say makes complete sense. It's not a fast process, and it's the long, the time you take to prepare yourself for, as you say, moving into live environment, so on, will only eventually benefit you long term, as it will draw more eyes and ears to what you're doing. And you've kind of mentioned it already, so I kind of want to touch upon that and kind of go back to the start, but mainly you specifically, and in particular because you are a multi-instrumentalist, where your musical journey first started, so to speak, and how we got to this point.
Well, yeah. First, so I'm completely self-taught.
Mm.
Um, Randomly, my family had some mates from Australia. They came down to visit us with a bongo drum and introduced me to that when I was about 13 or something. Um, I didn't even realize really that I could eventually go to a drum kit, but I was planning for a while of taking bongo drums very seriously and learning how you're supposed to tap and all that with your
Oh
fingers
yeah.
and the sort of sound you're making. And then when I was okay at making some little beats on it, I think my parents noticed, and yeah, they got me just classic like Stag starter kit, and I just absolutely blitzed it, and just pretty much trashed the kit. But it was great, just to get used to learning drum to a lot of different bands through my headphones, and just really put in a lot of time. And then actually moving to, it was a while before I moved to guitar, because my
Mm.
brother actually started on guitar, and for a while I was trying to copy him, but for some reason I was playing the guitar flat, so it
Oh.
was like that. And eventually he said, it's a lot easier if you flip it up, and it was easier. So then I started writing on guitar, and I found that I could get more out of it in terms of just sort of songwriting. I felt, as much as I love drums and it's my first instrument, guitar has the ability for me to really sort of put all my kind of emotion and creativity into it. Yeah, so that, and then singing was later as well. I was awful at singing for ages, really bad, just really flat.
Mm.
And then worked on that, and bass just kind of came semi naturally. I playing guitar. I do play it. I think compared to solely bassists, I play it more kind of good in a guitar way, but
Yep.
I think it adds to the sound, and it kind of gives a nice sort of balance, and they match really well, the kind of guitar and bass parts, I think. So that's a brief bit of how I found the instruments.
No, that's fascinating. What made you? Can you put your finger on it? Why you jumped between instruments at an early age? Were you struggling to find one that you thought, okay, this is what I'm particularly good at, so this is what I want to do, or was it just a creative attention thing?
Yeah, I think it's the latter. Like, I absolutely adore drums, and I practiced all the time, and I had an audition for Devil Sold His Soul, a kind of, small metal band back in the day.
Yeah.
An audition for them. I didn't get it, but I was in bands just playing drums. And then, yeah, it was more, yeah, creative control thing.
Mm.
A way for me to express myself a bit more, to have a bit more, I guess, yeah, control, hands-on process in the writing. When I was in bands playing drums, I'd start to want to like put my ideas across for guitars for people playing stuff.
Yeah.
And it kind of seemed, it was just easier if I started doing stuff myself. And I think I wrote my first like song where I played every instrument about 15, and I've got a CD of it somewhere. I really want to find it, because be really interesting. But so I'd started to kind of work out how to put songs together, me doing everything about sort of about that age. But it was definitely the sort of, yeah, creative control, wanting to explore different instruments as well, just from drums.
Is that something you've kind of continued to this day? Do you still find yourself exploring? I mean, you've listed basically the core elements of a band: drums, guitar, bass, and vocals. But obviously, there's a wide array of other instrumental instruments out there. Have you continued to explore?
I would love to be honest. I've recently got a little keyboard loan, so I'm thinking about incorporating some of that into some newer songs. I've already started writing the second album, but I think in the studio, when I go and record, is quite a nice time, just to add things, not huge parts, but
Hmm.
you can. I like doing some things on the day to kind of have that sort of impulsive, in
Yeah.
a good way thing, and explore, with effects and stuff like that. It's not to say I use all of them, but I want to have some sort of immediacy in the songs, and not be too thought out.
Yep.
Even because a lot of it is because I have to do it all, but I do save a few bits for um yeah, different things on the day when it comes to record.
And who do you have people within your life, be it personal, family, friends, and so on, who work as a sounding board? Because obviously, as a solo artist, as a person writing and working on your music completely would not have an input from other members of a band. How do you gauge whether something's working, or are you very confident that you can do it yourself?
um I'm always confident. I always think like this song's the best song, and then it does sometimes change, and I do play it to people, like my
Mm.
girlfriend, and sometimes doesn't get the reaction that I want, um which is a good thing, because you've got to be very confident or self-assured, as well as, not thinking everything you're doing is amazing,
Yes.
um to kind of look out for things that don't sound as good. And when I've had that feedback, I change the song, and I come up with something better, and it always does
Mm.
get better. And I eventually find the end product of the song. It's still, yeah, it's still, I still feel like I do everything I write I do enjoy, but it's pushing it to that next stage to really get the most out of it. So yeah, I use, you know, my brother and my girlfriend, and I've sent demos to my live bandmates, but a lot of the time, yeah, it's kind of that. It's pretty much just my girlfriend, to be honest. Like,
It's one of the many challenges that come with being a solo artist, a multi-instrumentalist artist, ultimately, that you've got to find some form of sounding board. But what other challenging aspects over the years, particularly, I guess, when it comes to working on this upcoming album and the single that's about to be released and so on, what other challenges have you noticed about being a solo artist?
I mean, I love a lot of it, but to mention, yeah, not having the sounding board for
Hmm.
ideas. Again, it can work in your favor and not with your favor, because you might get some ideas that you don't agree with, and then have to incorporate them in as the sort of part of a collective more so. Um, I think I do sometimes miss the sort of band dynamic of
Hmm.
having a laugh and the kind of camaraderie you have with your band, and um, but that's now there with sort of with my live band.
Yeah.
Um, but I think I like doing things myself, and I love writing songs, and it just appeals to me for me to be able to find my own way in how to create it. I just find it incredibly satisfying, and yeah, it makes me feel really fulfilled. And I kind of want to always prove to myself and to others as well that I can do it. I've just got a drive in me, so I kind of yeah, I kind of want it to come from me to really represent me. Like, this is what I've done. So yeah, there's some challenges. I mean, financially
Of
is a
course.
very big challenge. But apart from that, it's normally working better for me, I'd say.
Hmm.
But, I am loving working with the band, taking the songs live. Like, that's just another great part of, you know, Lucky Thief and how these songs are going to come out.
Do you think a couple of years ago, you would have felt the same when it comes to working with a live band in Lucky Thief?
Um, I don't think I thought about it, and
Okay.
I was enjoying just writing my songs and putting them out. Um, and I did a trial gig with some other musicians as Lucky
Mm.
Thief, um, at a place called the Louisiana in Bristol, and that was, oh, that's got to be like five or so years ago, and it went really well. And I thought, okay, there's some evidence there of the stuff that I'm writing. It can translate live, because that was the first sort of test of it. Because
Yeah.
also I was layering more instruments then, so so that kind of, yeah, it allowed me to think, okay, this should be done. And also, in order to get out my music to as many people, playing live is just essential, and it's kind of, you know, it's the fun part. Although I find the songwriting fun and the recording fun, like,
Yeah.
I do love playing live and going a bit nuts. So yeah, so it'll be great to do that when it happens. But yeah, it's not always been something I've been trying to find your feet doing everything. So if people were telling me it was shit, then probably wouldn't want to play live too much.
Mm.
So you know, trying to be real with, is this good enough? Or, I know it shouldn't really matter in some respects, but it kind of does to me. I want to put out something that's good and people enjoy. So
Yeah, of course you could say it shouldn't really matter, but ultimately, if not everyone hates it and no one's listening to it, you know, it will, it could have, it's not going to be great, is it for you? But how
yeah.
it makes you feel, and certainly inspiring you going forward. Sticking with the live thing, um, so for clarity, what, if you don't mind, if you can share, what would be your role in the live environment? Are you going to play guitar and sing? Are you going to do bass?
Yeah, so it'll be guitar and sing. Yeah. So predominantly the kind of rhythm guitar.
Hmm.
So all the kind of the main chords, which sits quite well with me. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing. Got a bassist, got a lead guitarist and a drummer, and all the songs are kind of written so that there's no more than two lead parts, or like,
Hmm.
two parts, guitar parts together. So it's not going to be like, you hear uh, an overproduced record, and then when you come see it live, it sounds very different because
Of
there's
course.
not all those guitars there, all these effects. So yeah, it's sounding nice. It's sounding as full as the record, which is great.
And what's the likelihood? I want to ask if you can predict it, but what's the likelihood of you playing live this year?
The aim is to start to get some shows for about July, August.
Excellent.
Um, so once the first single Silence is out, I'll be, looking at different venues and exploring bands to play with. I've already got a few that I've been thinking of. So yeah, looking for that time because that's when the album's released as well. So it'd be great to sort of have all the shows to support it as well.
Okay, so that's what was missing. The detail I was trying to find earlier on was a sort of clear release date for the overall album. So we are talking the end of summer, beginning of autumn time then.
Yeah, so we got the first singles out on the 31st of this month.
Yep.
And then there's two more singles after that. I think one's in July, off the top of my head, maybe May. And then another one beginning of August. And I think it's the 25th of August for the album. So yeah, quite a few releases from now on, basically.
A nice one, a nice build. And as you said, starting with Silencer, which as of the time recording, we're little over a week away from its release being out there. This track in specifically, as this is really the one that's going to be sent out to the world to really grab people's attention for Lucky Thief. Give me a bit of background about this specific track, in particular, what inspired it.
I mean, a lot of what inspires me frustrates me. And even though it's not metal, and music doesn't have to be metal to be
Of course.
aggressive. I think there's I've got a lot of anger within me, which can be greatly expressed through music, and
Mm,
it basically just airs my frustration with how outspoken people can be and how judgmental, narrow-minded, obnoxious, and just unaware of how their words can have an impact on other people. And yeah, it's sort of my frustration with that. It also looks at my own sort of behavior because I've normally spoken out about things for good and worse. It's got me in a lot of problems as well as
mm.
being good. So it's looking at whether it's better to speak out. I always think it is, but I'm not saying I've spoken out in times where it hasn't actually benefited the situation. But it's just looking at, yeah, is it right to speak? Should you speak? What are you doing by what the effects of what you're saying, and also just kind of on a basic level, wanting people to shut up if they're ill informed and not being very nice. But it's just looking at that whole sort of thing of communication, and yeah, what roles we have and responsibilities we have with that.
Annoyingly as relevant today as it was yesterday, a year ago, 5 years ago, and most likely will be just as relevant in 5 or 10 years as well.
Yeah. I mean, we're all humans, and it's never going to change. I guess it's just sort of observations, and if it can provide a little question. It's just what's my voice about? What can I do my voice for? Is it good? Is it bad? That's
Mm.
kind of what I wanted to, yeah, just put across.
And that Silencer, and of course, that is on the upcoming album. Would you describe the overall album then as a very personal record? Does it come from a lot of your own experiences and, as you said yourself, frustrations?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's incredibly personal. I think a lot of the time, the sort of the chords that I pick
Mm,
represent how I'm feeling. Sometimes even more so than the lyrics. Like all the songs that I start with, they start from the guitar, from chords, and I need those chords to, like, I don't know, ignite some emotion within me, and then that will change the sort of the lyrical content. But yeah, it's incredibly, yeah, it's all personal. It's all based on my experiences. Yeah, there's it's just a sort of my life, which hopefully other people will have similar experiences of, and similar themes. And I don't know, I wanted it to have a kind of hard, an energetic, hard hitting sound to it, but also to
mm.
have that sort of emotional kind of resonance where you can kind of connect with it a little bit. So yeah, I'd say yeah, it's super personal, and yeah, not so much where it's just so intricate you haven't got a clue what the guy is saying,
Right.
which is cool sometimes because you can try and work out what the metaphors are and stuff. But um, yeah, hopefully personal without being too standoffish.
No, I understand completely what you mean. Ultimately, you want to be personal, but you also want effectively some level of interpretation from a listener, just so potentially they can relate to it in many, many different ways. As long as they are listening and relating to it in some way, it works.
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
Is it easy for you to open up like that? Is it easy for you to express yourself in this format, or is it something that's grown over your years as you learn to be a writer and creator of music?
Um, yeah, it's getting easier.
Mm,
I still say it is. Yeah, sometimes hard. But I also don't, I don't want to use cliches, and I don't want to make things too obvious and sort of, you know, sickly sweet. So um, I'm trying to find that balance between being vulnerable and not being just a, just basic. So there's a song called Nomad, which is
mm,
probably the most, like, overtly personal one, and it has it in the chorus, just about, I moved about a lot when I was a kid, and it's about not finding a sort of place to call your home, so no sense of, like, stability there. um and that's very obviously presented in the chorus. I think I will kind of go down that line for some tracks,
hmm
because I think in general, and I don't know what your thoughts are about it, that, a lot of people can relate, and in terms of the general audience, can relate to these, I don't know, bigger, more obvious um, sort of statements.
mm.
Whereas a part of me does want to hold back a little bit, but I think it also has some power to do that at times.
Yeah, I do completely understand what you're saying. It can be fascinating to listen to a track, a song that is autobiographical to a degree, a specific event, experience in a person's life that you will basically diary page that you're hearing, reading, as it were, and that can be fascinating in itself. But you are correct. I feel the majority, or at least a large portion of people, connect to songs that perhaps have a little bit more of a grander, less specific idea,
Mm,
but it's still like it's still personal to the artist. That's
yeah.
what I tend to find people relate to maybe more than anything else. You described Silencer, for example. The way you've described Silencer is something that, well, obviously is personal to you for whatever reason, what the reasons you've told us here, but for a person that maybe doesn't know that, can hear that, pick up on the lyrical content, and maybe then connect their own personal experiences of what you're trying to say that's completely detached from yours.
Mm, yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, I fundamentally, like, the song's got to be engaging and
Mm,
pique your interest, whether that's, with the instruments, any sort of instrument, or the lyrics. So as long as the song does that, then the option's always there for someone to read into it more, and to re-listen and explore those things. But yeah, I always want to make sure that it grabs the person in the first instance to be able to do that.
And overall with the album, did you find yourself being quite experimental with it, or did you have a clear vision kind of what you wanted it to be?
No, I mean, it's, it kind of changes as it went on. You know, if I
Mm.
write a really heavy song or a heavier song, then I probably don't want to do that again as the next one. I want to do something different, but still with the Lucky Thief sound. Um, but I'm pleasantly surprised that, you know, all the tracks sound like, you know, they're homogenous and
Oh, cohesive.
yeah, exactly. Because I was just writing songs for writing songs. So it's really nice that they've come out, but I did want some variation. I wanted to, for the record to have a balance to it, not just being like, I'm going to write a heavy record and it will be heavy. I wanted to have different, you know, different styles in there and different things to kind of just keep your interest. So
Ebbs
yeah,
and flows, peaks and
yeah,
valleys.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Considering the time spent working on this, working on Lucky Thief and getting to where we are now, going back a few years, the global pandemic, the harder part of it, the lockdowns and so on, did that have much of an effect on what you were doing with Lucky Thief?
Um, I was always writing,
Mm,
but it made it obviously very difficult to demo the songs because I don't have a kit anymore. So I had to
right.
go to rehearsal rooms to do the drums and then bring the drums back. I could do all the guitars at home, but I also didn't want to do the vocals because it just wasn't. I don't want to, you know, piss a load of people off doing it. Um, so it made it very stop start. But I did find in those in between periods where like certain restrictions were lifted, I managed to find like a rehearsal room somewhere and a rehearsal room somewhere else, and it kind of got me through enough so that I could have um like the album was still continuing. There was always stuff I could kind of do. There was always guitar stuff, but
Yeah.
um yeah, it's a weird time. I'm yeah, again surprised that it managed to make it work, but it was just those little breaks of being able to find those spots and just using them when I could, to be honest.
I'm glad you were able to do that. They've even got to this stage where, as you said, we said we're over a week, a little over a week till the release of Silencer, and then further down the road, the proper build as Silencer starts to build towards the release of the album. Considering you said early on that you're doing everything, including, I imagine, all the social media management and aspects like that, that's hard enough when there's a group of you. But if you're going to be doing it on your own, how are you finding that? Do you think you've got a good handle on what's required for you to help push the name of Lucky Thief out there?
Um, it's not something that, you know, you don't play music to be good at social media. I don't
Mm,
anyway. I play music because I love playing music and I want to get my music out there. But it's a necessary beast that you've now got to really ram it down people's throats. And so yeah, I don't enjoy it, but it is when it goes well, it's good, you know. And now I've got stuff to put out, it's a lot better
yeah,
because, you know, I'm getting more engagement and, you know, an audience is growing. Whereas before, it's, you know, you've got to let people know you're still around, but you haven't got much to show for it. So I'm enjoying it more now that I'm on the journey basically. But I mean, yeah, it's not something you I don't know, when you first pick up your instrument, well, when I did that, I'd have to, you know, be on Instagram every day, and I haven't even touched TikTok. I don't even know where I'm going to. It's just I just don't know.
I think that I don't want to guess at your age, but I feel like sometimes that's an age thing. I feel like now, if you're very of a certain age and you're picking up a guitar, an instrument, TikTok will be running in the background behind you the moment you start. I think, or maybe that's just a. Well, I'm coming up to 40. I'm 38 in August this year, so that's kind of that, you know, an middle generation view.
No, I mean I'm 33, so yeah, I kind of feel that way. Yeah, I think it's, by the sounds of it, it's a completely sort of different social media beast, TikTok, and something I've got at the minute I've got other things to do
Yeah.
than do that. But depending on how things goes, who knows? I mean, I hate the thought of Lucky Thief on TikTok, but hey,
Who knows, as you say, and
who
that's the
knows?
thing. It's always who knows. This is a snowball now. The snowball is beginning to pick up speed as we roll into Silencer. We roll into the next singles and we roll into the album later at the end of the year, plus potentially, fingers crossed, live performances as well. And then it's a big ass snowball crushing towns and cities as you go on. So that's all super, super exciting. But now we reached the part of the interview, the last part where it's the quick fire round. These are 10 questions randomly chosen from a pool of 500 that can be sensible, silly, nonsensical, deep, and so on. How you answer them is up to you. You can elaborate. You can keep it one word. It's entirely up to you. So the first one requires just 3 words. Sum up Lucky Thief in 3 words.
Energetic, melodic, passionate.
Perfect. Perfect. What is a guilty pleasure food item for you?
Oh, food item. I don't think there really is any guilty pleasure food. Like,
Well, that you might feel guilty about eating, because that does happen to people.
I mean, actually, yeah, I did have just pasta and mayonnaise the other day. So at 33, you think you might have done a bit better with yourself, but times are hard, and that's what I had, and it was just about as average as you might think.
Oh, that generally sounds awful. As a person who hates mayonnaise and doesn't really love pasta, the combination of the two just sounds terrible.
Yeah, it turns out I did have one.
What is your favorite city to visit within the UK?
Oh, I mean, cool. That's a good one. What city do I like? I've been up to Liverpool. That's been great. I mean, living in Bristol is pretty amazing. I don't have to move too much because I pretty much just love being here.
Fantastic.
I would like to go to Brighton. Never been to Brighton, and I've heard really good things about that. So, like, yeah, Brighton's on the list.
No mention of the capital, my neck of the woods, London. Been here?
I've been to London a few times, and it's fine in small doses for me.
No, I waited that on purpose. I was expecting something like that. Okay, moving on. If you could tour with any band or artist, who would be a good fit for Lucky Thief?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I've got to be supporting. I mean, there's two major influences for me really with Lucky Thief, and it's Queens of the Stone Age and Deftones. So I enjoy the different aspects of them, putting them a little bit together. So I mean, to even be in the same room as them, I think would be good enough for me. So yeah, if I had to pick 2, or yeah, that just be them any day.
That's a nice 3-band bill.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm happy with it.
Considering all the instruments you can play, what is an instrument that you can't but you'd love to be able to play it, or maybe will one day?
I think I can play it the tiniest bit of piano, but not good enough, I'd say, at the minute. But in the terms of, synth would be amazing to get really good at
Lovely.
synth, just to make the songs seem even more epic. Yeah, some sort of keyboard, piano, MIDI bass thing would be cool.
Okay, cool. What is a type of horror fiction that has the ability to scare or creep you out?
Horror fiction. I mean, I love horrors. So I'm trying to think what's ever scared me. I mean, there's a new film coming out about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and
Oh,
Honey.
Blood and Honey. Yeah.
I think that sounds like it might scare me because it's so shit. But I don't know. I still want to see it just to see how bad it is. So that potentially has the ability to scare me.
Considering you said you like horror, then are you quite particular, or are you more than comfortable with just watching basically things that look like they will be trash?
I do love trashy horrors, especially from like the 80s and sort of 90s. I think that's the sort of golden era of it, where
Mm.
it seems to be done in good taste, even though it's bad. And like you can tell, like the directors' hearts are really in it. Um, so yeah, no, I'm not sure if Blood and Honey is going to be in that same vein, but no, I'm all up for watching like yeah the old kind of ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, you've already spelled out the difference there. I'm not going to say anything about Blood and Honey because I wouldn't want to color your view. Just have fun with that.
Did you? What did you think?
I'm not saying. I'm not going to say it's a film. Put it that way. It's a film
Okay.
that exists and people can watch it.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Sounds good.
Sonic the Hedgehog or Mario? Whose games do you prefer to play if you play them at
Uh,
all?
yeah. No. Mario. I recently got a Switch, so I need to get some Mario games on it. I've actually got Mario Kart. Um, yeah, I used to have a Sega Saturn back in the day, so I played Sonic. But I think overall it'll be Mario. Quite up for the film that's coming out as well.
Of course, yeah. Time recording, through like a couple of weeks away from it. Looks like it'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the animation. It's like it feels like that's what it's supposed to be like, you know.
I have to ask then, because you said that, have you seen and or are you a fan of the 90s Super Mario Brothers, the one that stars Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo?
Yes, it is insane. And the Goombas or whatever they are, that is just some acid trip nonsensical madness. I don't know how they came up with the design for that. It's like they're small in the game. Why are they like 6 foot or something?
It is a bit of a fever dream. Yep.
Yeah, it's great. I loved it though. It's a proper classic.
Classic, yeah. Okay. Where does the name Lucky Thief come from?
So that was trying to sort of combine two things which don't normally go together. You know, you associate like being a thief, something bad, but that something good can come out of it. So yeah, sort of that antithesis between something good or something bad happening, but there'll be a little bit of each in both.
Oh, cool. It's fantastic. Oh, actually, this is a good one, considering as a horror fan, what is the best Stephen King book to movie or TV show adaptation that you've ever seen?
Oh, it's going to be so basic, but The Shining's like my third favorite film, so I love it. I've watched it countless times.
I'm gonna presume you mean Stanley Kubrick, not the TV adaptation one.
Yeah, the Stanley Kubrick one. I know
Yeah,
that the book apparently is quite different to the film, but no, I absolutely love that. But I'll pretty much watch any Stephen King film just to see how they are. I know there's a lot of like different variances of how good they are, but because he just
of
churns them out
course.
the whole time. But I always find them like pretty interesting, you know.
Oh, this isn't the last. This isn't the last of the quick fire questions, but you did say something that's kind of caught my attention. You said The Shining was your third favorite film. Then
Mm.
what's one and two?
Uh, No Country for Old Men is my first, and then There Will Be Blood is my second, and
Oh wow!
they seem to have just stayed there for probably the last 10 years or so. So yeah, I just find them absolutely insane. Yeah, like Johnny Greenwood doing the soundtrack for There Will Be Blood is epic. Obviously, there's no soundtrack for the No Country for Old Men. But yeah, no, I just it's the kind of the darkness of them and the kind of getting in the psyche of people. I just love it.
Yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis, incredibly well, beyond watchable.
Yeah, definitely. Have you got a favorite film?
It would be very hard. It'd be one of the struggle to kind of name it as number one because, but like, I mean, it's I'm a huge fan. So I don't. I'm trying to avoid the horror thing because, like, from the horror aspect, the original Halloween, the Return of the Living Dead is not just like it inspired the website. I have it tattooed on my arm. Like it's
Sick.
what scared me as a kid. Um, I adore Mary Poppins, the Disney one. That's
Amazing.
up there. Yeah. So like, I'll be honest, I'd never really given it much thought to go, oh, that's number one. Oh, Danny Boyle's, there's a movie called Sunshine. I don't know if you've ever heard of this one. It's a space one.
Yeah, I have,
So yeah, that is one of my all-time favorite movies. Sunshine. The soundtrack of that is just spectacular.
amazing. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I don't. If you ask me my favorite, songs or albums, I couldn't pick because But in terms of films, it's quite an easy one for me.
okay, well, I think the last question is going to be easy then as well for you. What's an achievable goal you'd like to accomplish this year with Lucky Thief?
Um, I mean, yeah, to get a bunch of live shows in
Yeah.
and to do that, that would be, that's the plan, and I imagine that's what will happen, and hopefully it will be all good. And I would like ideally some radio play as well. So if those two things were to happen, um, I'd call it quite successful. And then on to the next album, basically.
Haven't heard Silencer. I didn't mention this before, and I'm very confident that will be the case. It is one of those tracks, and if the album's anything to go off this, that has what I like to think is mass appeal, where you can be into the heaviest of heavy, but you can also be into mainstream rock and pop and totally find middle ground between the two. It is out on March 31st, as you said earlier on, and then we just continue to snowball, build our way towards this release of the full album. Lucky Thief, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Yeah, been good to chat.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?